Christian Pulisic and Tim Weah, they just fired back at their critics. We know who the critics are exactly, but in the latest episode of Pulisic. So let's run that back. And let's see if their reaction was warranted or was it soft?
I'd say the most annoying thing, and for me the biggest cop-out of all time, is when, especially, all pundits want to say, they didn't want it. They didn't have the heart. Back in our day, we would fight and we would die on that field.
When we were on the field, there were guys on the field, all over the field, who if they didn't perform well, their club team probably lost. But there's not a lot of guys who fall into that.
I think those guys are chasing checks, and for me, I just feel like they're really evil, honestly, because they've been players and they know what it's like when you're getting bashed, and those are the same guys that'll turn around and shake your hand and try to be friendly with you at the end of the day.
These guys want clicks. It's social media, it's subscribe to my channels, listen to my podcasts, or whatever.
Don't get me wrong, I respect all of them. I mean, there were players that I looked up to, but quite frankly, the guys before us didn't win anything either.
So, so this clip is pretty fun. This is, I get excited about this kind of stuff because so we had Marcelo Balbo on the other day, and I asked him this specific question because he's been very vocal about the former players that are criticizing the current players. And it's not even to say that you can't criticize. So maybe that isn't the exact correct word, but there is maybe a harshness that I think some former players offer than others. And this is not just happening in soccer. This is happening in all sports. I mean, I think about my former coworker, Gilbert Arenas, when we were at Football Sports. Gilbert Arenas gets hammered for this all the time. He's like, yo, bro, this is beneath you. You shouldn't be talking like this. And you used to play. And for when I think of a person like Gilbert Arenas, I'm like, yes, chasing checks, chasing clicks, and all that stuff. I'm like, that kind of makes sense. And if that's your approach, cool. But the interesting comment here is Tim Weah, especially saying that this is evil for former players to do this. So I've seen a couple of responses from players, former players. What are your thoughts when you hear this kind of stuff?
There's a lot to unpack. And I'll start by saying this. If you're in the content business and you're making content, if you're a pundit and you're making content, isn't the goal of that to get clicks, to have people watch that content?
Obviously, yeah.
Okay, so that's number one. That's their job.
Yeah.
Is to speak their mind and get people to watch it. Okay, that's number one. Number two, do you think that if the ex-players in Spain, England, Argentina, Brazil aren't criticizing their players, and it even goes to an insane level that we can't even imagine here in the United States because all they live for is football, is soccer? Like, lose me with like, oh, it's, they're so evil. And I love Tim Weah, man.
Same here, yeah.
Love Tim Weah, but he's saying, oh, they're so evil, and then turns around and says, yeah, but I respect them.
Yeah, you can't be.
It can't be one or the other.
Sure,
right?
sure.
And look, I'll say this, man. I understand. I get it. It's got to get under players' skin when they're questioning their will, questioning their want and their
heart.
desire, their heart. I understand that. But your decisions in the past have put you in this position with this team. It was Pulisic, it was Weah, it was Weston McKennie that wanted to get Greg Berhalter back on this team.
Yeah.
They bring him back. Things did not go well.
Yeah.
And now they're in this position, and bringing in a new manager in the middle of the cycle has them playing with not a lot of confidence and not playing well. You're going to get criticized when you don't play well. The fact that they're taking all this time in this documentary to focus on the criticism from former players, we can mention their names. I mean, Landon Donovan, you saw in that clip, and other players as well. They're taking all this time to focus on that, not focusing on your football, not focusing on what you got to focus on, and this is taking up this much space in your head. That's a red flag already, and that's my opinion. And again, I get them, their will being challenged. That sucks for any player, but you haven't performed. The team has not played well, so what else do you expect them to say?
Yeah, the one thing I'll say here is that I respect Tim Weah for highlighting like that former players will criticize them, and he's like, oh, and then these are the guys that want to shake your hand and whatever. And so I can understand from from an individual perspective of being like, I don't like what you said about me, so I ain't cool with you, right? Like that I get. That is like totally valid. But the concept of the industry of like it's evil. I'm like, I'm a U.S. soccer sicko. I consume all the content around all the drama with USMNT, and I don't think anybody has said anything that's really gotten to a place where like, whoa, that was out of line. Like,
Agreed.
Sure, Landon is like critical of Pulisic skipping Gold Cup and questioning his desire and questioning the heart or whatever. But I think it's fair game to question it. He could be like, no, Landon, you're wrong. Or he could be like, yo, I don't f with you anymore. Or whatever. Like,
Right.
Set those boundaries if it's really bothering you that much. But to, be like, it's evil, and then nombre de Padre de Hijo, Espíritu Santo.
Yeah,
like that's a little like too much, and it's an exaggeration for sure. But then this is the other part of working in the media industry as well. Even from my perspective, where I'm a comedian, and Tim Weah, we hosted an event with Tim Weah, and he couldn't be nothing.
I was
but
at the event.
Yeah,
That was great.
A great dude.
Great dude.
And the reality is that as much as you may not like the podcast industry or the media industry and what everybody does and what everybody says, the reason the sport is where it is and the reason it gets all the interest and attention and eyeballs and the reason people, not that they wouldn't know Tim Weah, of course they would know Tim Weah, but the reason this media industry uplifts the sport. So it also, because and it's all connected with like sponsors and clicks and attention and money and then that inflates your wages, right? Because you are making more money because more people are interested in Juve, more people are interested in you and at Marseille and USMNT and so you think Marseille is not aware like that you're a USMNT player and they're now an American market is going to be more interested in watching our games,
of course,
and they're going to pay you for that. So you can be mad at it, but there is positives as well. Even the criticism brings a level of attention that has some value too. So again, not to say nobody should be saying terrible things to players,
of course not.
But it's one of those things like I don't know what the agreement or the gentleman's agreement of what former players and current players sort of have, because I said this to Marcelo and I said this to Landon. Landon was on last month. A lot of these guys grew up looking up to you, and now you're mad at them about something, and it's like, whoa, it's weird to have Landon Donovan think negatively of me. Yeah, but that's just the
business.
That's the business,
That's
right?
the business. I mean, I get it. I get it. It's tough, and like, if you're upset, you don't gotta shake their hand if they're going one. Because at the end of the day, Landon Donovan, he's a pundit, yes, but he's also a USMNT legend. He wants the USMNT to do well.
Right.
So he's rooting for these guys. So it's not just because he's criticizing, that's just saying his opinion on what he's seeing in front of him. Just like you, just like me, just like we all do. We all saw his performances. So we can all criticize. But he still wants them to do well. It's not like he's wishing for their demise. That would be evil. If he's wishing for this team to not do well.
Of course.
That would be evil. That's not what's going on.
I think we're in maybe it's a generational thing because maybe a lot of these, these players, these kids, they grow up with the gentle parenting, Stefano. They want the former players to gentle parent them.
They don't get chancletazos like we did when we were kids.
Okay, so this is a difference of a generational trauma that I think the former players are kind of passing down. They're like, nah, bro, this isn't how I was raised or whatever. But yeah, the Pulisic documentary isn't necessarily like bad. A lot of people think it's like self-indulgent and stuff like that. I watched this episode and I like that there was the fact that we're in a place like this of just like beefing and a little anger. It's like it might be toxic, but it really is showing where, like, we just had Marcelo Balbo on in the 1994 World Cup. They would do anything to get anybody to care about the sport. And now people care about the sport so much that they're getting mad at the players. So it's
a good thing.
So it's kind of a
good thing for the sport.
Again, it's a good thing for the sport. And I'll reiterate, it's why you make the money you make. It's why you're getting the accolades, the fame. Those former players would have, and they would have loved to be to be able to even play at some of these clubs and be on covers of magazines and do all this other stuff.
It's Weah, the Weah magazine with his dad.
Where his dad recreated.
I don't know if you guys talked about that.
We didn't.
Such a cool. They recreated just for if you're not sure about it, and I'm sure we can.
We'll get the picture and post.
But it's Weah's father, George Weah, played for Marseille, had a magazine cover with the Marseille jersey. And as soon as Weah signed, he goes and he has the same magazine cover with the same old jersey pointing to Marseille. It's cool. It's a cool.
Right. So look, in conclusion, we want y'all to do well.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's quite clear. I try to have more fun with it than I think other podcasters, but ultimately, it's like it is about success, and we want to see. I think as American soccer fans, we just want to be able to have our friends who make fun of the fact that we like soccer stop doing that. And you are going to be the reason why that happens. So we want you to succeed.
Yeah, agreed. As a general rule too, everyone's just so mad about everything. Everyone just gets so upset about everything all the time.
Well,
and
Stefano,
it's just
there's so many things to be mad about.
True. Very true. You're right. But it's just man, the reason I love coming on this podcast with you guys is because you don't take it as seriously, right?
Yeah. We're trying
it's
to have
more fun. We're trying to have fun because there's a lot of serious going on in the world on a day-to-day basis. Let's have some fun when we talk about soccer, please.
Without a doubt, bro. All right. So we'll keep tuning in to Pulisic. Keep dropping gems. Even Pulisic's dad is in there being like, yo, Landon, I'm out. It's on site, bro.
I got some opinions on that, but I'll keep those to myself.
I think he physically threatened Landon Donovan.